calls her for a getaway ride.
Also, too, could be our warmest day of 2022. The incremental warm-up has just begun. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Congress shows a bipartisan show of support for Ukraine during President Biden's first State of the Union address.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Authorities arrest a Labette County couple and a grandmother for a string of burglaries and thefts throughout the county. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, police believe 3 arrests may have solved a string of burglaries and thefts that have been going on for a matter of months. On Sunday, Oswego police arrested 32-year-old Brett Phillips, his 22-year-old wife Leah, and Phillips' grandmother, 74-year-old Roxana Camper. The arrests are part of an ongoing investigation. All 3 are facing multiple charges. Brett Phillips' arrest stems from 4 separate cases in 2022, including theft of a trailer, non-residential burglary, and drug possession. The first arrest found Leah Phillips at the Diamond Coach Factory in Oswego. Oswego police say Brett called his grandmother for a getaway ride, but detectives found them and arrested both of them in their attempt to flee. In what appears to be a safe move politically, Governor Mike Parson has appointed a 22-year-old veteran of the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services to be the agency's director. Part of that safety comes through the appointment of Fulton, Missouri native Paula Nicholson as acting director.
Our director is prepared.
Indeed, over the past 2 decades, Paula Nicholson has worked not only on COVID response, but with H1N1 as well. She has directed maternal and child health care, chronic disease prevention, and emergency preparedness and response during 9/11. She also appears to understand the political landmines attached to public health policy.
With regard to COVID, masks, vaccine, social distancing, and therapeutics all play a role. All are useful and should be available to each of us as we make personal choices about how best to safeguard our own health and the health of our family members.
Those words sound carefully chosen, given what happened to previous health director appointee Donald Karoff, who was driven from office by conservative critics who whipped public mistrust of his desire to increase the state's vaccination rate.
It's atrocious where we are with vaccinations.
And what did you mean by that?
Is that we have to do better.
Karoff took a beating during his delayed confirmation hearing and ultimately left the health agency. That puts a spotlight on Parsons' decision to name Nicholson as acting director. While that would suggest the appointment is temporary, the governor made it clear Nicholson is his choice for the long term. By attaching acting to the title, however, Nicholson is not subject to Senate confirmation. Parson insists that's not why he went that route.
We'll see how that plays out. We may put her up there and get that confirmation in it months down the road, or next year we'll take a look. But right now I think we just need the stability of a director at the Department of Health.
Parson says the acting modifier on the title does not restrict Nicholson's authority in any way. Well, if you like me, you are loving this 4-state warm-up. Michael Hayslip joins us with the first look at the forecast.
Tim, I love that you took that shot right there as I was looking to see if this may be our warmest day since the middle of December. December 15th, we got up to 76 degrees at Joplin Regional Airport. There's a good chance that we not only get there, but surpass that here on the second day of March. Right now, we sit at 73 degrees in Joplin, 74 in Chanute, and 74 in Miami. Of course, we point those out because that is where we get our temperature reports from our local airports. Look at the winds picking up right now, 15 miles per hour. Out of Joplin, gusting, last gust we had was 23 miles per hour. Skywatch Storm Tracker does remain clear. Got to get up into the upper plains to see a little shot that's rolling through northeastern Missouri, about to make its way into Illinois. But I tell you what, if we were to pull out here, look how dry that is. And so what that will do is also lead to elevated fire concerns, because as we take a look at future track, a little cloud cover with no precipitation, put that into the national scope, and what that will mean is everything stays in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to be dry with elevated fire concerns and warm weather all the way to the weekend. Tanya, coming up here in just a little bit, we'll talk about what to anticipate on Saturday and Sunday, because by that point in time, we are going to need a little rain. Also, too, March cold front coming. We know what that means.
Get ready for changes?
So we have an interesting pattern because we have a whole lot of dry air that's hanging over us. Yet we know that the Gulf is just packed with moisture right now. Eventually, we're going to collide.
We're going to get it. Right. Hey, and you know what, Michael? When you're given lemons, what do?
Oh no!
You make lemonade.
I think I've been through 2 pitchers of iced tea today. I didn't. Good call by you. I did not see them there.
All right. We'll get to more on that change collision coming up in our full weather. All right. Thanks, Michael. And what has become a tradition for presidents? President Biden is heading out to sell the American public on the items laid out in last night's State of the Union address. Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill with the president's message and the reaction from the lawmakers who will be asked to approve his agenda.
President Biden left the White House and headed to the swing state of Wisconsin, fresh off his first State of the Union address. While the president's trip will focus on his domestic agenda, the war in Ukraine took center stage Tuesday night, with a bipartisan show of support for Ukraine and the international response.
The only part I agreed with was the part on Ukraine. We need to stand united. We need to work with our NATO partners and allies.
Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S. was one of the First Lady's special guests, and the president said the U.S. will continue to provide humanitarian and military aid. Senate leaders are now working on an assistance package.
There are very good discussions going on about that right now. The best place to include it is in the upcoming omnibus bill, and that's what we intend to get done.
But there are also bipartisan calls for the president to punish Russia with sanctions against their oil and gas industry and to expand drilling in America to offset the global supply.
Russia's a big producer of oil, so we've got to step up and fill that gap when it comes to liquid fuels.
The president's domestic agenda faces a much tougher sell in an equally divided Senate. Facing the highest inflation in decades, the president continues to push his Build Back Better agenda, which he says will help struggling families.
Well, what we do is we pass the legislation that we have been pushing, which will bring down these costs and make living more affordable for working people.
But Democratic Senator Joe Manchin remains opposed to the plan, telling reporters last night, quote, "I've never found that you can lower costs by spending more."
I've heard so many good things from.
Meanwhile, Senate Democrats immediately turned their focus towards Supreme Court nominee Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, whose confirmation process is now getting underway. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Biden on Tuesday also announced a new unity agenda with issues that he believes will garner bipartisan support, including mental health care, addressing the opioid epidemic, supporting veterans and their health, as well as reducing the cancer death rate. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at Noon.
Intense bombing continued overnight as Russia's war with Ukraine intensifies. I'm Deborah Alfarone in Washington, where President Biden is vowing that President Vladimir Putin will pay a price for his invasion of Ukraine.
And later, we're making sour cream crowned fish fillets in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Russia and Ukraine both say they are ready to resume talks to end the bloody war. But for now, nothing has been scheduled and the assault on Ukraine continues. Deborah Alfarone has the latest from Washington.
The Russian military has intensified its bombardment of major cities across Ukraine. In Kharkiv, Russian missiles heavily damaged a government building. Just 80 miles west of the capital, firefighters battled a blaze in the aftermath of a suspected Russian airstrike. The mayor said the target was a residential building near a hospital. At least 4 people died, including a young child. In the south, Russians have launched sweeping offensives on strategic port cities along the Black Sea. With the Russians advancing, Ukrainian soldiers and civilians are digging in, determined to defend their nation, whatever the cost. Speaking from a heavily guarded compound, Ukraine's president pleaded for more help. He says if Ukraine falls, Russian troops will be on Poland's border.
President Biden had some tough words for Russia last night. He vowed to make President Vladimir Putin pay a price for his invasion of Ukraine.
He rejected repeated repeated efforts at diplomacy. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond. He thought he could divide us at home, in this chamber, in this nation. He thought he could divide us in Europe as well. But Putin was wrong.
The crisis has forced people from all over Ukraine to try to get out. The UN said almost 900,000 people have fled to neighboring countries. This woman says thanks to all the kind people who helped them. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
More economic backlash for Russia as Apple stops selling iPhones and other products, saying it's deeply concerned about the invasion of Ukraine. ExxonMobil says it's preparing to shut down production and investment in development projects. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
It's Ash Wednesday, and we've got a tasty fish recipe that you'll want to make over and over again in the weeks to come. It's that good.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Take into account this wonderful start of March that we're going to have, and this 10-day average high is slowly going to climb. Now, have to remember that only encompasses just one day of the month of March. We've eliminated that 73 from today. I got to see what the actual high ends up being. But if we get up to 76 degrees, which is anticipated for today, we haven't seen a high that nice since December 15th. If somehow we are to eclipse the 76 degree mark, say 77, 78, you'll have to go back to November the 15th of 2021 for the last time that we had this warm of temperatures. So what a delightful start to our third month of the year. 73 degrees, blue skies, sunshine over 7th and Rangeline right now. But I also want to point out, yeah, I know you're going to get tired of hearing about this the rest of the week, but that humidity already down to 18%. And usually we don't bottom out until about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon as far as humidity wise. We're not going to drop any lower. I mean, with this, all the moisture in the ground, there's really nothing left to bring out of it. 74 right now in Chanute, 70 in Monette, 74 in Miami, and Fort Scott, Nevada sitting at 69. Skywatch Storm Tracker clear as can be. Only rain that you're going to see has now disappeared over the Iowa state line into portions of Illinois, stays up to the upper Midwest, and here's why. It just wants to follow the jet stream. We've got a low pressure system that's very stagnant right here over the Pacific Northwest. So anything that it ejects, boom, just follow the arrows straight down. A little bit of a split down here, but that's also the warmer air that we're the recipients of. Now, eventually, I'll tell you what, bubbling up down here, we got a whole bunch of Gulf moisture. This time of year, it's just waiting to explode. You can tell the defining line there between the colder air and the warmer air. As long as it stays up to the north, that's why oftentimes in early March, we get severe storm weather. Luckily, jet stream able to keep it above us. So we're going to be in the clear here for the next, really, couple weeks, if you will. Today afternoon, went ahead and bumped that up to about 78 degrees. So yeah, that would go back to November of last year. The last time we saw anything like that, and our overnight low is going to be absolutely delightful. Probably a light jacket will suit you tomorrow morning when you walk out the door. And I'd go ahead and say short sleeve shirt tomorrow morning going to be just fine, because anything that we do see creep in, just a little light cloud cover up to the far north, no precipitation involved with it. Now we know the rains are coming. We've been talking about everything that's been bubbling up in the Gulf, waiting. Here's the nice thing. Because of the cold front, it will continue to retreat and stay up to the north. So what we do see with our Gulf moisture, more so scattered shower variety. Not going to say we won't see a little lightning and thunder involved with it, but for the most part, look at this. The jet stream continues to move everything into the upper plains toward the Great Lakes. So we really do kind of luck out on our 7-day forecast, because by the time Saturday and Sunday roll around, we're going to be pushing about 3 inches below normal of precipitation if you date back to December 1. So drought monitor is saying right now, yeah, we need just some scattered rain showers, light scattered rain showers. Don't need the torrential downpour, don't need to deal with the flood warnings. And Tanya, here's the best part about it. I think on Saturday and Sunday, we not only get the scattered rain, our temperatures maintain, and that cold front that rolls in from Sunday into Monday, our precip is done by then. So despite the fact that we see Monday into Tuesday slipping below the freezing mark, we're back down to dry air. No
That's
chance
good.
for any snow popping up.
That's good. Yeah, we're done. We're done with the freezing roads and the
I'm
ice.
not, wait.
Ah.
Wait. I'm not saying we're done. I'm saying we get to the middle of next week unscathed.
Mentally, the 4 states needs a break from that.
Yes, we do.
There we go.
And hey, you're a great glass half full person.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great 7-day forecast.
That's what I said. We found some lemons. We're making lemonade. All right,
Busted.
thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Specialist Second Class Clyde Barnhart in the U.S. Army. The Altoona, Kansas native served in Germany from 1953 to 1956 with the 264th A Battery Battalion. He earned the Sharpshooter Medal. To Specialist Clyde Barnhart, we thank you, our 4-state hero. As we enter the Lenten season, it's the perfect time for Catholics and fish lovers alike to find new recipes for the dinner table. Today, Howard shows us how to make sour cream crowned fish fillets in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
With today being Ash Wednesday, Christians around the world are receiving ashes to recognize the beginning of Lent. And beyond the many observances that take place during this time, many of you will be eating a lot more fish. So to help keep things exciting, we came up with a new fish dish that I know you're going to love. We start off by cutting about 1.5 pounds of fish fillets into individual portions. Or even easier, you can buy them pre-portioned from the freezer case. We lay them on a baking dish and set them aside for a sec while we mix together some sour cream, Parmesan cheese, paprika, and a little salt and pepper. Now, we spoon this over each fillet and finish them off with a bit of Italian breadcrumbs. This is going to add a ton of flavor. Right before popping these in the oven, we drizzle on some melted butter, and that's it. And if you're wondering what's the best fish to use, we like a mild whitefish like cod, haddock, or farm-raised catfish. When this comes out of the oven piping hot, you'll get the creaminess of the sour cream blended with the Parmesan, which is one amazing combo. It's so good, I hope you'll go online and get the recipe for our sour cream crown fish fillets, so you'll have a new way to keep things interesting. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a flavor-packed way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at koamnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
We went ahead and bumped that 7-degree forecast for today's high up to 78 degrees, which means it definitely would be the warmest day of 2022, and you'd have to go back to November of 2021. Last time we eclipsed 76 degrees. Get outside, enjoy some great fresh air, because we're going to be able to ride this through the rest of the week.
Wow, doesn't that sound nice?
I know. Love it. Love it.
Yes.
How did it feel outside? You just came in?
It's beautiful.
Nice.
No coat required.
Looking forward to that. All right, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, an alarming rise in cancer among veterans may be linked to toxic fumes coming from burn pits on U.S. bases overseas. Today, lawmakers, along with comedian Jon Stewart, are calling for legislation providing health benefits for soldiers exposed to burn pits. Plus, one local car dealership is meeting its clients' needs in a unique way and now accepting cryptocurrency on sales. Tonight, we're going to look at the financial impact of using crypto and what it means for the future of finance. And it's Ash Wednesday for a lot of people. One church in Parsons is keeping up with their busy congregation with Ashes to Go. They'll be joining us at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.